Hello everyone, I'm Taaka Awori, founder and CEO of Busara Africa, a Pan-African leadership development firm. Welcome to the Leadership in Africa Redefined podcast. This podcast seeks to do two things. One, change the narrative of leadership in Africa, and two, provide concrete strategies and tips for leading in an African context. We do this by interviewing amazing African leaders so that the narrative of leadership in Africa is defined by the best of us, not the worst of us. We share their stories and provide practical suggestions for dealing with the challenges of leading on this continent. We discuss, interrogate, and examine concrete leadership practices that work. We also look at failures that these leaders faced and how they navigated their ways back on track. It's an exciting and empowering space for leaders to thrive and engage. Subscribe to the show to become the leader you have always wanted to be. And if you like the show, be sure you rate it and review it. It helps others to find it. Thanks so much. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Leadership in Africa Redefined, the podcast. And we're on season 2. And as usual, I have a very exciting guest with me, a powerful African woman, none other than Fatoumata Doro. And many of you may have heard her name. Fatoumata was the immediate past Managing Director of Vlisco Ghana, becoming the first Black woman to lead the Dutch-owned West African textiles firm. And Fatoumata also sits on the board of Ecobank Niger, where she's originally from. And there's so much more about Fatoumata that I'm going to tell you. I invite her to say a bit more about all the exciting things that she has done. So, Fatoumata, you are so welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about you and your journey.
Hi, Taaka. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited. It's such a pleasure reconnecting with you. I vividly remember the first time we met at the Executive Human Network, which I think it was like a year ago, yes, where you were on my panel, and your insight on leadership and African growth was so, so impressive. So I'm really happy that you created such a platform, for leadership where people can be inspired and they can really hear from people real world experience. Because at the end, as leader, what we want is to inspire people, but more important, we want them to be great leaders, but even be better than us. Because this is so critical for our continent. What are we doing? What we will leave as a legacy when we are done? So I think this platform is amazing. So going back a bit about me, I am from Niger, like you said. I was born there and I started moving around because my dad moved to Senegal. I spent a lot of my, secondary school in Senegal. And then I studied in France, in the south of France, came back to Senegal, and then started my career moving from different countries in the Sub-Sahara region and also in UAE. I'm married. I'm married with a Senegalese man. I love Senegal, so I had to marry a Senegalese.
I can see that.
Yes. In fact, I'm wearing a Senegalese outfit to show you the love I have for this country.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. And I have 3 kids, 3 lovely kids, they've been with me in all the countries where I have worked. And I think they enjoy the journey, seeing their mom taking new career opportunities and trying her best. And I hope I'm inspiring them by doing that. Also, from a career perspective, I was the past immediate Managing Director for Vlisco, which I managed for 3 years, working on the expansion, the turnaround, and the growth of the business. Like you said, I was the first Managing Director in 60 years since the independence, since the business was created, in fact, and the youngest MD for them. And so that was like the big things for the organization. I was also the first female MD for Arla Foods Africa, which is the previous company that I work, which is a Danish company, a multinational, one of the biggest dairy company in the world. I work also for Procter & Gamble, which is the big multinational American. And I was one of the very few Francophone people that were hired back then when they started the implementation in Africa, French-speaking countries. I sit on, I'm an advisory for a private equity fund, which is called the African Fund. It's newly established, and it's really about blockchain and seeing how best we can invest more into SME and medium enterprise in Africa. I'm all about African growth, about women empowerment when it comes to diversity. So I always jump on those kind of things. I'm also a board advisor, a board member of the DSF Foundation. So it's David Sudden Foundation, which is all about empowering Africans. So we provide a scholarship to only Black people who join INSEAD. We also help different type of NGO like the African Science Academy, which is one of the leading NGO that supports women in math and physics. They are the brightest one you can have in Africa. We also support other NGO in Congo, where you have a lot of rapes against women. So it's a fantastic NGO that is all about really empowering African and especially women. I think all in all, it's a good summary on who I am.
Amazing, amazing. And what an impressive track record, Fatoumata. And I mean, there's so many different directions I can go. And one of the things that really attracted me to you and made me really want to speak to you is the track record you've had around transformation and transforming organizations. It's because I see so many leaders struggling with that. But before I go there, there's some threads I want to pick up in your bio because it's just, again, so impressive, huh? And there's two threads in particular I want to pick up. One is around, I love the way you speak about, I'm married and I have my 3 kids and my kids have been with me through. You started with that. Huh? Mm-hmm. And then you talked about all the amazing pieces of work you've done and the amazing assignments. So it immediately shows me how centered, how at the priority you put family. Yeah? So maybe my first question related to the story you've shared with us about your bio is, what is one thing or 1 or 2 things that enable you to integrate that prioritization of family with this, what I'm sure is a very demanding professional career?
I think it didn't come naturally to me. I mean, as a career woman and also an ambitious woman, I always wanted to put career first.
Yeah.
But I married a man who really, truly believed in me and who would want my dream to come true. So he is such a supportive man. I've traveled and I lived in different countries where I had to be promoted and move. And he was with me all along. And the normal African man will say, no way, I'm not going to follow you. No way. But my husband adjusted his career in a way to make him mobile so he can be with me everywhere. And he said one thing to me. He said, there is nothing more important than family. So wherever you go, I go with you. And that's just, you are like, oh gosh, I really married the right person. I really married the right person. And if it was not him, if it was someone else, maybe I would have never been where I am today. It's because I had the right partner. And when you learn that, you know that's family first, because you had the right partner, and then the career come after.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's so powerful. And I think that's such an important message, for those who may not be partnered yet, for those women who are starting to think about, they want to start building families, creating families, but their careers are important to them as they start to think of who is a good fit for me, who's a partner, what I'm hearing from you is that selecting someone, and I love the way you put it, you're like, you said he supported you in your dream.
Yes.
While recognizing that family is first.
I believe when you have the right partner, you don't even question which one should be the priority. When you have the right partner, it just comes naturally. It just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Like without him, then things will be different. So yes, I want him, I want the kids, and I want everything. I'm not going to let one be down or second. I want everything. And I think you can have everything, but you may not have everything at every single point of time. And that's That's what life is about.
Yeah.
There are some times where you just need to focus on some work that you have to deliver quickly, and that day you won't go out with your kids. And there are some times where you just shut down everything and you go on a date with your husband. But then when you look at the full picture, 360-degree, then there is a fantastic balance between everything.
I love that. I love that. So that balance isn't like at all times it's like this. It's more an integration where sometimes one is higher than the lower, but I'm still hearing it's that prioritization of family, which is so key. So thank you. All right. I think the next question I have, based on just the way you were describing the different roles you've had from the time at Vlisco, the time at Arla, and I suspect maybe when you were at Procter & Gamble as well. Fatoumata, you have always been one of the firsts, or one of probably the few.
Yes, and it's not like I choose to become the first. But the way I see things is that I always choose the things that no one wants to take. So for most of all my role is because people saw them as being too complicated. And they felt that it would affect their career, that there was no point of taking the risk. But for me, I always saw problems to solve. And if no one wanted, then I feel that this is the place to be. Because then if you achieve the result, you will be one in a big pond than being one in a sea. You see what I mean? You'll be a unique person. And I look for being the number one. I look for being the number one in solving a problem.
I love that. So what I'm picking from you is a particular mindset, that whereas many people, when they see, and I think this is going to lead us very nicely to the work you've done around transforming the companies you've worked for. When they see complexity, difficulties, all of that, and they're like, I'm not risking that. What you see is an opportunity in terms of a problem to solve. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think people shy away from problems, but you learn and you grow faster when you are into problems. And for me as a human being, I think the beauty of life is about being my better version. And I look at how to become my better version. The only way is to learn through the hard time. So when I take a business and I'm like, okay, I can give you so many examples, like moving from Procter & Gamble to Arla Food, everyone was like, you're crazy. Procter & Gamble is it's one of the biggest multinational in the world. Everyone dream about working for Procter & Gamble. And I moved to Arla Food, and I knew that when I moved to Arla Food, I would have to go back to Africa. My friends were like, you are living in Dubai. Everyone dream about living in Dubai. Why are you going back to Nigeria? What's wrong with you? But what I could see is building something from scratch. I could see that I would be the first employee for Arla Foods Africa. And I would go back to Nigeria. I would build a business where we were only 2 employees. I always look at the end of the story. Which story can I tell when I finish the job? And the story was just powerful. And it excites me. I think it excites me to solve problems. What are we doing in this world if you are not solving problems? You will be like anyone. I don't want to be anyone. I want to be someone who solves problems and to be remembered for what I did.
I love that. And let's unpack that example of Arla Foods, because indeed you went back, and if what we understand is that you increased their turnover, I think, is it in Ghana? And correct me if I've got this, from 100 million to from 100,000 to 11 million in just 3 years. Let me repeat those numbers, folks, so you hear that. She increased Arla's turnover in Ghana from 100,000 to 11 million in just 3 years. Clearly, you solved a problem. Clearly, you had a clear vision of something. And that was a serious type of transformation. And this maybe brings me to this conversation around or this focus on transformation.
Yes.
What strategies, if you had to name like your top 3 to 5 strategies you use to transform this business, at least in part in Ghana, from this 6 figures to, I don't know how many figures this would be, to 11 million, what were those? And what can people learn from that?
I want to give you a bit of context on who I am really
Please.
as a person, you know.
Okay.
When I was based in Dubai, I was working for Procter & Gamble, and I moved to Arla Foods, Dubai. And I was the first employee to be hired for Arla Foods Africa to go and build it.
Okay.
And my vice president was hired, so I was reporting to the vice president back then. We started in Dubai for a couple of months. We started working on the strategy, and then we moved to Nigeria to build it. When we started, the whole story is about Arla Foods Africa. We were just 2 employees, me and him. I stayed in Nigeria for 3 years. When I left the role of marketing director for Africa, we were 300 plus employees in 3 years. So this just to explain the passion really I had for that role. It's really the energy I pour in that role. And it's not all about me really, but it's also say that it started with me and one person who believed in me, who never knew about me, but met me for the first time in Dubai. And then we had to take a plane and go back to Nigeria, you know, and build something from scratch. It also showed the energy I have when I work on a business, really, because at one point, you know, when I was working in Arla Food Nigeria, when we started the whole business, everyone kept telling me that, yes, it was the wrong decision. I should have stayed in Dubai, you know, because why will you go in Nigeria? It's just a mess, you know. But I see more than I see opportunities where people see chaos. And to go back a bit to your question, when we started growing our business in Nigeria, then my vice president was struggling really to understand why our Ghana business was not growing. And at that time, it was in 2018, I think the GDP per capita for Ghana was one of the biggest one in the sub-Saharan region. I think Ghana growth was roughly maybe 6%, which was higher than the average in the sub-Saharan region, which was 3%. So Ghana was the place to be. Every multinational wanted to be in Ghana. And my vice president was like, there was something wrong about that. How come I've tried 2 managing director and we're still not able to break even in Ghana? So I told to him, I want to give it a shot. He was like, are you sure? Yes, I want to give it a shot, because I felt that I did the in and out of marketing, because I worked in marketing for a while, and I wanted to go back to the basic of marketing. I mean, the same I had when I was in Procter & Gamble, because in Procter & Gamble, though you do marketing, but you have P&L responsibility, ownership kind of. So I wanted to have that control over my P&L, my financial, so I can take clear decision that would allow you to achieve your vision. So I moved to Ghana really with most of all my friends and colleagues didn't really believe in my ability to make it happen. I moved to Ghana with a business that was bleeding. So I had a fantastic career as marketing director for Africa. I could have stayed there in my comfort zone, but I was really attracted by curiosity. I was attracted by the problem. I wonder why on earth a brand that is amazing like what Arla Food has, a country that is growing really faster than the average sub-Saharan market, why can't we just grow our business? And how come my boss tried 2 MD and they both fail? So instead of being scared, I was like, this is exciting. I have to try this one. So I think what I'm trying to say here is when you look at the way I think, it explains that, first of all, when people see challenges, I see opportunities. And I really see opportunities. I remove the chaos around me and I focus on what is this going to be if I solve it. And I could see the fantastic story I could tell that, you know what, she has broke even. The business is the fastest growing business in Africa. She's the first female MD for Ghana. She came after 2 MD male and made it successful. I mean, this kind of story, you can't get it anywhere else. You have to jump on the boat and make it happen, you know? So I decided to, yes, try it. Though it was crazy, but because I strongly believe on the story I could tell after, and I believe in my capabilities, I tried it. You have to believe in yourself, really. You have to believe in yourself. And you also need to surround yourself with 3 points. And that goes back to the question that you mentioned. The first one is, for me, really to make sure that you achieve such kind of transformation and growth, you need to have the buy-in of your your shareholders or your CEO or your bosses, I mean your vice president, your CEO, everyone to whom you report need to believe in you. They need to believe that you can make the impossible possible. They need to believe that you don't take no for an answer. So even if they tell you, oh, no way, Fatou, they know that you will fight back because you have the answer for that. And I'm someone who really challenge my bosses usually. I tell what I think. You need to have the bosses that, give you that freedom to make mistake, but allow you to come back and fix those mistakes. Those same bosses that empower you so you can be less scared by them and face the challenges you have in the market. And I think this one is so critical. You need to make sure that you have the right bosses and they believe in your ability. And that's really go back to the story. I said when I moved to Dubai to Nigeria or Nigeria to Ghana with Arla Food, it's all because someone believed in me. It's all because someone said, this girl never really did managing director, but I've seen her, I've worked with her. So maybe she may not be 100% ready, but I'm going to stand her and I will be behind her back. I will have her back. And he had my back. He was an amazing boss, Tin Hajber. He was really one of the greatest boss I've had. And I mean, along my career, I always had great bosses. Some were really tough and I felt the pain. But we know later when you become more mature, you understand that it was tough love. That they were tough because they were trying to make you grow.
Yes.
And yes, so the first one is really have the right leadership team that believe in you. The second one for me is have a clear vision, but a vision that is so clear, that is transparent, that you can articulate it in a way that you can ignite passion within your team. Because numbers are really great. I mean, we talk about numbers as managing directors always. Numbers are fantastic, but you need the people to understand the numbers. And it's not by telling them the numbers that they will understand the numbers. It's by translating those numbers into the vision and making it a passion. You need to create love within people. So beyond just, okay, I want to be number one brand in this country. That's not a vision, but I want to change the world, or I want to empower people. I want people to live safely. It has to be more than just the profit. It has to be something that I feel it from the inside, and I know that I'm changing something deeper than myself. So as a leader, you need to know how to translate those visions so you can attract people. And your core team, when they love that vision and that passion that you have translated, they will cascade it to their team, because the people at the bottom, they won't connect to the numbers, but they will connect to the passion. And that's what is important, really. It's translating it into something tangible that you can relate to. And I think that's also the passion I had for Vlisco. I think when I came on board, my idea was rebuild a brand, translate the GTP. If I take the GTP brand, has a brand that is a modern brand, loved not just by my parent or my grandmother, but loved by the different ages, and reposition it not as being an African brand that is just selling in Africa, but being an African brand that is admired beyond Africa. So when you sell that story to your team, they feel like, okay, it's not just about, multiplying my turnover by 10. It's by, leaving a legacy. We are building the first biggest African brand in the world. And that's touched you. Because you go back home, you tell your kids, oh, I'm working 10 hours, but I'm working 10 hours to build the biggest African brand in the world. It's a different story.
Yes.
Hi, folks. Hope you're enjoying the show. So have you heard about the Africa Leaders Circle? Our impactful e-learning platform that enables you to grow into the leader you would want to follow? Here is a message to tell you what you need to know.
Are you a CEO, executive director, or HR manager that is looking to build a pipeline of leaders that are ready to step up into management roles? Are you looking for a self-paced learning platform that provides your leaders with quality content and does not take them away from their work for too long? Are you looking for a program that enables your managers to move from knowledge acquisition to demonstrable improved practice? Then look no further. Sign them up for the African Leaders Circle today. The African Leaders Circle is an e-learning platform that gives your managers access to an exclusive community of leaders across the continent and a wide range of strategies and tools to stand out. We do this through online courses, discussion forums, a library of resources, and a personal learning advisor to support each of your managers to maximize their learning on the platform. To learn more, visit our website www.busara-africa.com.
Don't forget to visit our website busara-africa.com to learn more. And now back to the show.
Yes.
Powerful, powerful. So let me pause there because, and then I know there's some other strategies, but I think what you've said is so powerful at different levels, because it's interesting throughout our conversation, Fatu, you see that there is a thread around what you have been able to achieve. I am hearing is a lot about who you are as a person. And so it's interesting how, as you started to explain your journey in terms of what are the strategies. You said, let me give you the context, but in that context, you're also sharing what are the things about you that enabled you to achieve that transformation. And these are the three things I heard about you. One is, now where, haven't you seen, I've been taking such key notes as you've been talking. But I think the first one, and I was just writing it here. Voila. The first one is you're somebody, because I think there's such learning for many leaders around this. You are someone who sees challenges as opportunities. So there's clearly something about your mindset that enables you to have this kind of impact. So that's the first thing I'm seeing. The second thing is, you've said it twice. You've talked about how when you're presented with these challenges, you start imagining this story. And it's like you're already describing the story in your head of how it will turn out so amazingly. This woman came and she had this impact on this business. So it's almost like you start with the end in mind. And again, that's something about you that I can clearly see has really supported you along the way. And there's a third thing that you may not have, I don't know if you actually said it explicitly, but it's coming out so strongly in terms of how you are. Fatu, you believe in yourself. You really believe in yourself, because otherwise you couldn't even envision this story around, yes, people are saying, why would you want to go there? Why would you want to leave Dubai and go back to Africa, back to Nigeria? Why would you want to leave Procter & Gamble? But clearly you believe that you can turn that challenge into an opportunity. So I'm seeing first those three aspects about you that have enabled you to be successful. And then when you come to the strategies, then indeed, as you're saying, number one, have a leadership team that believes in you. But I believe that comes because you believe in yourself. But believes in you, really has got your back, is willing to support you. And then second, again, leveraging that ability you have to envision things. I really like the second thing you've brought up about craft a narrative around the vision that's not just about money, but it's around a real impact, so that your leadership team can cascade down the similar kind of passion that you have. So folks feel they're working, as you said, it's not just about the turnover, but they feel they're really making a difference. Oh, nice. We could write a whole strategy book on this. Yeah, so continue. So we have two things.
I want to add on the believing in myself. It's not, a lot of people ask me how strong I am, and then I believe in myself and I'm never scared. And I mean, I just want to make it clear. I always, and I still have a little things inside myself that, that create fear. But I've learned over the years that as you get small success, that fear has less power over you. So you need to get some success. Tick the box, tack, 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 tick. Even if they are small wins, make some small wins, fight, make some small, because as you're making, then the voice about believing yourself start becoming louder. And you're like, I can do it, even though, he's saying, no, you can't do it. I can do it. Who is he? I'm going to prove him wrong. So yes,
I like that. So it's not saying that fear has not been there, but I think the successes that you have had have not.
We are just human beings.
Exactly.
And fear should be here. And in fact, I think we have been programmed, or we have been created in a way that fear is not something that you should run away from. It's just your body telling you that you are going into something tough and you will come out victorious. For me, it's just something telling me, oh, you are going to something that will change you. It's not about escaping. It's like, get ready. This is going to be tough. This is the human being. Is the same way we cry. We cry because we are so emotional, but your body just telling that this has touched your heart. But are you hiding your tear? You are not hiding your tear. You are letting them come out, and you are facing that emotion that you're feeling. It's the same with fear. We should just embrace it.
Wow, I love that, because so often and so many times when I'm coaching leaders, one of their biggest inhibitors to stepping into, as you called it, the best version of themselves is fear. And what I'm hearing from you, which I resonate so deeply with me, is that one, fear is natural. Nothing wrong with fear. To be human is fear will come up, huh? But fear should not be an inhibitor. Fear should not stop us. But fear is almost that bell that says, pay attention. You're going into something that's going to be difficult. Get ready for it. Not run away in the opposite direction, but more get ready. Be more prepared. Really powerful.
Indeed.
So let me ask you this. As you encountered, I guess both at Vlisco, but also at Arla, I'm imagining that as you sought to transform and grow these businesses, as much as you had leadership support and ownership, you also met a lot of resistance. And this is something I find when engaging with leaders who are trying to bring out some type of organizational restructuring, transformation, significant growth. The thing that keeps them awake at night is people who are resisting change.
Yes.
How have you dealt with that?
For me, I believe that when you are going through transformation or change management or turnaround, you will always have resistance. But you need to focus more on the early adopter. You will have people who will believe in what you're selling to them first. And you need to focus on those people first. So while you work on your strategy, while you are communicating, while you're trying to educate people, focus first on the first, numbers of people who believe in you. Because for me, it's change. Human being, we don't like change. It just come naturally. We just don't like change.
Yes.
It's like, it's like explaining to someone that the things that you have done over the years is wrong, that you have to change completely if you want to have a different outcome. They may know that is true, but it's just the effort to change the habit that is different.
Yeah.
And I would give a good example. For example, my son, I keep telling him that to cut the sugary things he's eating or watch less TV. But how can a child understand that something that he's enjoying can be bad for him? At the moment when he's eating his ice cream, he's to the moon. How can you tell him to reduce that sugar intake?
Yes.
Or when he's watching his TV, he's so into it and he finds it, inspiring. How can you tell him that it's bad?
Yes.
So you really have to be patient with him and hold his hand. If you cut it overnight, then you will face frustration. And change management is a bit like that. It's more about emotional intelligence. To use the emotional intelligence to change the habits, because it's tough. You can't really change people by forcing things. So usually what I do is that I focus on the early adopter. In a group of 100 people, you always have a number of them that will always accept easily new direction. That's scientific. And then you have some that are in between and some that are the hardcore, they will never accept it.
Yes.
So you focus on the early adopter, and change is like a disease. Has the early adopter buy into the idea? Then you see the one in the middle group who doesn't really believe and are in doubt, thinking, maybe it makes sense, maybe. And as they start seeing some small wins, some small success, they're like, okay, let me give it a try and see. They start trying it, and they become more sick. So it's like this, because the early adopter were your first proven model, and then it started spreading around. Don't put all your energy on everyone. Put your energy where you can win first, and then you spread it out.
I love that. And I think this is the mistake that we often make as leaders. We get so caught up in paying attention to the resistors that they drain our energy, make us feel so like this is the wrong path, make us question ourselves. But what I'm hearing you say is that just start with those who indeed are early adopters. But what do you do? And I'm sure you face this. What do you do if those who are so critical, particularly your leadership team, those who are so critical to operationalizing the change are resistors?
So yes, definitely. I mean, sometimes in your early adopter, you don't have the critical people. Yeah. And that's why I said when you're doing transformation, you need three key things, really. You need a strong management team who believe in you from the top, your vice president, your CEO. You need a vision that you can really translate easily into a passion that you can ignite into the heart of your team. And then the last one would be you need to have a strong core team. Your management team, you should really hire them wisely. So if you are in a company where the people that you need to convert are not really buying into that, first you need to check if the three things I have said, you have them right.
Yes.
If you have your CEO, your vice president who truly believe in your ability to make it happen and they back you up, then you need to take tough decisions with their backup. Tough decisions sometimes mean letting some people go, getting the right people who have the ability to do the job right. But without the first one, your CEO, your VP believing in you, you can't take such kind of decision. So I have given three points on how you can drive transformation. If you are missing the first one, not having your CEO or VP who believe in you and who empower you, and give you free ride, then I strongly advise that you exit. Because it's a losing battle. You will lose yourself and you won't go far. You need to be honest with yourself and know what you can change. Change and transformation cannot always happen. Sometimes, because you have the wrong ecosystem, you can just not make it happen. You need to know and save yourself first. But if you do have those three, and especially the first one, because they are the one who will give you the cash, they are the one who will tell you, you can do this, you can't do that, then the rest is when you are facing so much confrontation and you've tried all means possible, which mean education, communication, translating the vision. You've shown really small success and win, and they're still not buying it and they're making things difficult. Then you need to change some people. But that's the last resource. You must change some people, and because also it's also like an epidemic. If you have people who are bad in a group and they remain in that group for too long and they are loud in voices, then it will affect the whole organization. You need to take the tough decision and change them.
And this is why you're saying it's so important to have that leadership backing, because you need that backing if you're going to make those tough decisions about those people that are essentially derailing.
Indeed.
So let's sit with that for a bit. Those are three key things, folks. Our viewers, listeners, I hope you're hearing those three key things. I'm hearing, if you're about to lead, well, actually, let me back up. What I've heard you say that I think we need to underscore is that it's not always possible to lead a transformation or drive change. And we need to be full enough. Please finish. Go ahead.
Yes. What I think it's important as a leaders is get your standard right, set your value high, and do not compromise. When you join a company as a leader, you have things that define you as a brand. Is maybe your integrity, your speed in action, your intelligence, many of those things. It's what has defined you, and that's why the company has hired you to fix that problem.
Yes.
If you get to a point where you have to compromise of those values and your standard, then you're losing yourself. And you need to know that it's time to just, turn the page. Or it's not always possible. Or you may even say that I am maybe not the right person for that change.
Love this. I love this. Because too often, I've encountered so many leaders. It's like, Fatoumata, they're banging their heads against the wall, but they know that I can't make this thing work. I can't bring about this transformation. But what I hear you saying is sometimes doing the brave thing, particularly for your own integrity, to say, I can't bring about a change here, or maybe I'm not the right person, or one of those three things is not in place. The three things you said. I don't have that support from the top. I'm unable to turn this vision into a passion that everyone buys into. And I don't have that strong core team around me that I can, because leadership is not a sole sport. It's something you do with others.
Yeah. And indeed, on those 3 points, the first one is the non-negotiable one. You need to have a leadership that is support one. The vision one, if you are a strong leader, you should be able to translate a vision into a passion usually. And that will drive excitement. Having your core team, your management team that believe in your competencies, it's just a matter of choices. Is hire wisely and fire as fast as you can. That's usually the motto. But because it's very difficult to know that you have the perfect talent when you are hiring. The hiring process is a discussion. You will never know if that's the right person. But we are all human beings and we change and we learn. So though you may not have the right person, give the person the benefit of doubt and train and empower and educate, provide the right tools before you take the last resort action.
Of course.
You must do that. Because we are here to learn, all of us.
Yes.
So yes, for me, the number one is critical. And the last two is, as a leader, you should be able to take action. Don't really waste time on that. Do them. You have to do the job.
And we do, particularly on that number 3, is usually a tough one for us. Even when we have leadership backing, it's really, and particularly I find on this continent, I found it's easier sometimes for you all in the private sector. In our non-for-profit sector, sometimes that's a bit harder because we're a family. We're all supposed to be, we muddle things up. That's saying sometimes the most kindest thing you can do for a person is saying, you're not a fit. We've done everything to support you, but this is the direction we're going. And clearly that's not the direction you would like to join us on. So it might be time to leave the bus.
Yeah. I think it's become too often too emotional. It's more about relation than business. And unfortunately, what people forget is that when you keep someone who's not performing or who doesn't have the competency to help you achieve the vision, is that you are risking the job of many more people. Because as you are slowing the profitability and the result of that business, then there is less chance to increase salaries or less chance to hire more people or less chance to promote you because you are not doing well as we expected. So people should think about it differently. It's like you are keeping someone because you like the person, because you build a relation, but at the same time, you are really affecting the rest of the organization negatively. So think about the other one. And take the
this is so interesting. And if you're thinking about, as an NGO, if you're not a profit-making company, you can be thinking about this is limiting your ability to have impact on the particular target groups, communities, women, children, whatever you're seeking to have by not being able, not making that tough decision. Oh, wow.
Yes, totally.
Fatoumata, I could talk to you forever because I think the pearls of wisdom that you drop are simply amazing. I am just so honored and so deeply appreciative that you made time to join me in this conversation. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Thank you for making time. And I really wish you all the best. Hopefully we'll continue to dance together in the future. Thank you
much,
again.
Taaka. Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Yes. To all our viewers, thank you for joining us for another. I hope you found this really useful, lots of nuggets, and we'll see you for the next Leadership in Africa Redefined, the podcast. Ciao.
Bye.
Hello, wonderful leader. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the podcast. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. If you want more of the lessons, experiences, and nuggets for effective leadership, join our amazing platform for leaders, the African Leaders Circle. Learn more at www.busara-africa.com. And if you like the show, don't forget to subscribe and share with other amazing leaders. See you soon. Ciao.